Yes, it's Monday, and Monday is the first official work day of the week. Thank you very much for joining us this morning on the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions, right here on Flow 94.9 FM. It is the flow of God's own state, and the platform is still part of our morning show right here. The one we call Morning Spice, the discussion segment. We take a critical look at issues. We dissect them with the help of our panelists, of course, so that you can make better decisions in the nearest future. My name is Michael Oni. This morning, we're bringing the conversation back home, right here in Abia State. Of course, if you followed our Facebook page this morning, you must have an idea of what we're talking about, and also the guest. But then, we're talking Abia, the state of Abia, this morning on the program. So much is happening in the news. You must have heard, you must have been following the good, the bad, and maybe the ugly. That's according to your decision also this morning. So we are dissecting some of these issues. Is Abia State being demarketed? If yes, then who is demarketing Abia? These are some of the questions we will be finding answers to this morning. Looking at the available resources, do you think Okezie Ikpaeazu's administration has done well? Of course, this will form the basis of our conversation this morning. So welcome on board. My name is Michael Oni. Now, joining me this morning is Offor Munachiso. Yes, he's the senior program manager, Power, a public affairs commentator. Also, glad to have you join us. Welcome to the platform on Flow FM.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oni. Good morning, Abians.
Good morning. Thank you for joining. And also, I have Ikwuagwu joining in the studio. He is also a public affairs analyst. Glad to have you join us this morning.
Good morning, Abians. Welcome to the program.
All right. Let's begin. The latest, of course, Abia has not been on a very good note in the media, both social media, the traditional media, and national televisions. So much is happening. The latest outing of the governor may not be termed so good, looking at that particular part of the clip of the governor, part of the clip of that interview that was cut and circulating on the social media about the issue of 500 naira, the back and forth. And if we just oppose this with what is happening in Aba, the state of the roads in Aba, I don't know what you have to say about this. Do you think, I'm starting with you, Mr. Eric, do you think Abia is being demarketed, and by who?
No doubt. It is, we experience this every election year. But I think this time around, it has come too early. Well, the issue of 500 naira will not be used to cover the many positives of that particular project, which is enhancing the life of babies and mothers. Okay, and we know, when you talk about this from the elitist point of view, you may not understand what the average poor woman in the village is going through. So, when the conversation is all about what you see on Facebook, and it is all about elitism. Now, majority of these people who go there to talk about just the 500 naira do not go to their villages. They don't understand what is happening there. See, the governor says that, or the project is all about taking care of women who, one, delivers free of charge in the hospital. Secondly, they are giving a pack. Now, when we want to equate this to cost, you will find out that there is no place you go to today, even the local traditional delivery centers, that you will not pay up to 20,000 naira to deliver there. Now, your medication, the delivery cost, everything is being taken care of. And at the end of the day, you're giving a stipend to go home with. And we know these primary health centers take care of the locality where they are located. So now, what is the big deal in people trying to harp on just the 500 naira and want to cover the very, very positive gains from this particular endeavor of the governor? So we will not allow them to continue doing this. We will encourage our women in the villages to visit these healthcare centers. And it is only even in Abia State that people are paid. The services of delivery is being taken care of. Now, procreation is something that is natural, and you know that people make deliberate effort to give birth. It's not something that comes accidental. Nigeria is not underpopulated. Very few countries in the world pays for people to give birth. Others will restrict procreation.
So you believe Abia is being demarketed?
Abia is demarketed on that aspect and many other aspects.
The area of roads also.
Those roads. Okay. Let me come to that. Let me come to that.
And what those that are staying about what they are saying about the state of the roads, because it might be impassable. Some roads are impassable when it rains.
No doubt.
Roads like Fox Road and some other roads.
No
also
doubt, Michael.
There
are few roads that has collapsed under the very intense heavy rains that are always called the monsoon rains, and the heavy truckage around that Fox Road. And we all know what happened in Fox Road area. Okay, that road has not been commissioned. When you say a road has been has been given back to the state, it means the governor has signed his stamp of approval and say, okay, this road is good for usage. But that particular Fox Road was not commissioned. It was governor brought under the pressure of people who were begging, okay? And he considered the economic crunch that COVID-19 brought upon the people that sell tires around that area. And he opened that particular road against professional advice from the people handling it. And today, it has collapsed. But let us not just limit this discussion only on Fox Road. What about the other 44 roads that are still standing? Okay, we acknowledge the fact like 2 or 3 roads, okay, fell, but there are 44 still standing. Okay, now when we go back to before the 2015, all these people that are shouting today, where were they? Okay, so it is about politics for them. They don't care the economic disadvantages or economic harm. Okay, they do to the state.
Let me take Mr. Ernest for it's about demarketing the Abia state. It's about demarketing the state as a state. For Mr. Eric here, it's about selling the state in a bad light for political gains. From what he said, I don't know what you have to say, because you've been a critic of Ikpaeazu's administration and also subsequent administrations in Abia State. So what do you make of this? Do you also subscribe to that line of thoughts?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Abians. I want to start by thanking my senior brother here. He's someone I have so much respect for, and I wish probably I'm not squaring up with him, but then it's good. I want to start by saying that when we talk about demarketing Abia State, the greatest person or the number one person that demarkets Abia State is the government of Abia State. And I want to make it very clear here that Dr. Okezie Ikpaeazu is not the victim here. So when we talk about demarketing Abia, it looks like some people want him to be in the bad news. It's like maybe some people just want him to look bad. No. When a governor comes on air to tell people that 6 years and close to 7 years after taking office, his health policy is to give women 500 naira. That is the greatest insult anyone can give our women in this state. The government of Abia State has deliberately over time impoverished the citizens. Our people have become so poor that 500 naira has become so huge an amount that the governor can boldly, before international television, tell the world that he's proud to gift 500 naira to lactating mothers. Some days ago in Sokoto, Governor Tambuwal commissioned the world-class hospital. I remember that when Ikpaeazu came back after he had COVID and had a close shave with death, he promised he was going to deliver a modern state-of-the-art hospital in Abia State. That has not been done. I came back this morning. I stayed with a friend at the Abia State Teaching Hospital. The place looks like a ghost town. The place is under lock and keys. The people are not there. When you talk about demarketing Abia, is it the people who talk about what is happening in Abia that are responsible for salaries that are not being paid? Are they responsible for pensioners that are not receiving their pension? Are they responsible for the fact that since 2004, some say it's even 2000, that gratuity has not been paid in Abia State? Are they responsible for the fact that a governor spent 6.8 billion naira on a road on Fox Road and the road has failed? Someone mentioned 44 roads, and I ask, how many kilometers can we begin to talk in Naira and Kobo here? How many kilometers of road has Ikpaeazu constructed in 7 years? Let's know. Beyond that, and I say this, Good governance goes beyond
So
building roads. Let me just make this point. Good governance goes beyond building roads. It goes beyond building bridges. Good governance entails transparency, accountability, probity in governance. Now let us even ask the question: how much has it cost Abia State for the 44 roads that will be built in Abia State? Who knows the cost? Nobody knows the cost.
Maybe we should just do a sectoral review now, because I'm going to return to you, Mr. Eric. Maybe we do a sectoral review. Are you saying that you've not seen anything good in this administration, because so much is being said, especially on the social media page, in the negative about Abia State, and maybe that's what Mr. Eric is saying? It is a way of demarketing.
Now, my worry is, Michael.
I'm going to return to you, Mr. Eric. Let me just finalize.
Let me pick one thing so that you add that to your talk, please. Let me say one thing, please.
Return to you.
I talked about the cost this hospital project was going to save the average poor woman in the rural area.
And can we say
it is always hitting up on just the fact.
Can we say it here very clearly that the government of Abia State is not giving any free pack? The government of Abia State is not giving any free
I wouldn't
health.
come here.
Listen, I am saying this. We have said it out there. Can we have the statistics of people that have received the pack? Nobody.
Gentlemen,
can we have the statistics of people?
I'm going to return to you, Mr. Eric. Now, let me throw my question again to you for the issue of demarketing Abia State before we get into a sectoral review of the state from health to education and also some other sectors now. Are you saying that there is nothing that we can point to being in the positive that can paint the state government well, especially on the social media space, because so much is happening on the social media page, on the negative, against the state government, against this present administration in Abia State?
Okay, thank you very much. Demarketing, I mean, it's when I hear issues about demarketing, I get angry, because we are not talking about demarketing. The person demarketing the state is the person who is there. If you are coming in from Port Harcourt, my brother, you get to Obehe. For you to move from Obehe to Ariaria, an international market. The day I was coming on Fox Road going to Ariaria, I came down from the keke where I was. I shed tears. The video is still on Facebook. I saw a mound of refuse. There is nowhere in this country where you go to and you see the quantity of refuse you see on the road. I wonder how people are able to do business in those places. You are coming from the state. You are not resident in this state. You're not from Abia State. And you are coming into the state. And you are seeing a place where a mountain of refuse has overtaken the roads. It looks like Abia is an ungoverned space. You are coming from Akwa Ibom. Once you move from Akwa Ibom, before coming into, once you leave Akwa Ibom and you're coming into, once you get to the bad spot, you know you've come into Abia State. All of the inroads that comes into Abia are all bad. Okay. Now I ask a question. They will tell you, oh, it's a federal road. The person that constructed the part of Akwa Ibom that led to Abia, who is the person that did it?
Okay, Mr. Eric, should we now say that the person demarketing might be the government in power, like he said? I don't know how you want to.
He has already shown you. He has demonstrated explicitly here that his mission is just to bring out the negatives. And when you continue doing that, it shows that either you are mischievous or you are deliberately trying to demarket.
Maybe you should try and create the balance.
And I'm coming. Okay. We spoke about the hospital. You know, he's been up and down. He's been everywhere. I thought we were going to do this segment by segment.
Definitely.
So that we get to a particular point, we trash it. But jumping from one corner to the other, doing all this social media thing is not what I'm here for. I'm going to give you an empirical analysis of the developmental projection of this state. I'm going to give you where any investor who wants to get into Abia will look at, and not what you people talk about on social media. If I'm an investor and I want to get into Nigeria, I want to get into Abia, I am looking at what are the data, what are the figures, okay? What are the empirical findings? I'm not going to look at what people are talking about on Facebook. Now, let me get back to this issue. If he has closed his eyes to the cost, because that is where the major benefit of this program is that cost of delivery. I have a friend of mine whose wife died because he couldn't afford just 25,000 naira to take care of the wife in a very decent.
Pay them salaries and they will be able to afford it.
I'm going to return.
Pay them salaries and they will be able to afford it.
I allowed you to talk. Don't stop jumping into my distance. Now, if at the end of the day, these poor women in the village who are not just civil servants, see, Abia is over 4.5 million people, and civil servants are less than 50,000. So let us even get this in a proper perspective. What are we talking about? If they want to blanket the entire state to be all civil servants, it is a disservice to the state. That is where this demarketing comes off from. You can't do that. What about the other 4.500 million Abians? What about my poor grandmother in the village? What about my aunties in the village? Are they civil servants? These people are farmers too. So this particular government is not just looking at civil servants. And let me correct you on this impression. When you talk about salaries, we talk about parastatals, please, for crying out loud. I was with the DG of Absada. Absada is a parastatal under the Ministry of Housing, and I asked the guy, what is the magic? You run an overhead, as he told me, over 7 million, and you're still there paying your salaries at when due. We know what the current chief of staff did with our spends. So if it is a problem of Abia State government, it would have been a blanket thing. It would have been every parastate having issues. Where I fought with the government, I will still say that as a public affairs analyst, it's with not sacking those poor performers who refuse to pay salary. How can you get a boss, brand new bosses, and you give Abia line, you give them, you pay for pits where they operate from, and these people at the end of the day refuse to pay salaries and refuse to grow, whereas their counterparts like Peace Mass will have 10 bosses, and in the next 10 years they have grown to 20, 50 bosses. And you're telling me, see, the problem with this thing is with management. And I can agree with you if you say sack the DGs who are not performing. I will agree with you. But when you want to put the buck on the governor, I said no. He has given people the expected to function. Let me land final. The bulk of civil servants are in the MDAs. And they are all paid they receive their salaries as at when due. When you do business with the ministries, you go to pay to government accounts. But when you do business with all these parastatals, you pay into their into their own account. So coming here to blanket that the government owes salary is a means of demarketing the state. And we say no to that.
Okay, Mr. Offor, I don't know how you want to respond to some of these points he listed from the area of not throwing all the blames to the governor, being the chief executive officer, but the area of the management of some of these parastatals being owed, because these are some of the issues I also highlighted for us to talk about on the program this morning. And the ease of doing business. Abia was rated third among the states of the federation when that statistics was released by the National Bureau of Statistics. Now, he said these are some of the things that investors will look at before investing in your state, that the governor, the state government rather, can be rated high in those areas. I don't know how you want to respond to that.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm the kind of person who is very objective. On ease of doing business, Abia has tried. But I also want us to put it in proper perspective, because a lot of people tend to model things up.
Okay.
When you talk about ease of doing business, what you're talking about is the regulatory framework that guides business registration in an environment. We are not talking about investment in infrastructure. No. When you look at the data that is used in calculating ease of doing business, what is at the top of the list is regulatory framework, and good enough. The state has been able to see how things like business registration have been made easy here in Abia State, and that is very commendable. But beyond just the ease of doing business, the question is how many people here in Abia State even have the capacity and the resources to be able to start small and medium-scale enterprises here in the state? Very few. And then he talked about parastatals, and I feel ashamed when I hear things like this. I'll give you statistics.
Okay.
See, I like being honest. It takes nothing away from us if we are honest and sincere to ourselves. We are here in this state where Abia Poly is owed, I think, about 31 months of salary. Abia State University Teaching Hospital, 21 months. And a governor collected 7.4 billion as security vote in 2020. In 2019. 6.1 billion naira as security vote in 2019. I'm coming. The amount we pay as subvention to these parastatals, one of the reasons why these parastatals are not able to pay salaries is because their subventions do not come as at when due.
It's been said that they are revenue generating
agencies. I'm coming. They are revenue generating avenues, and then government now gives them subvention to be able to augment.
Yes.
Now, a governor collects 600 million monthly, 500 million monthly, and gives the Abia State University about, is it 20 million monthly as subvention? Go and ask Abia State Teaching Hospital when was the last time they received their subvention. Ask Abia Poly when was the last time they received their subvention. The people you are owing, what is the wage bill of pensioners in primary schools or in secondary school here in Abia State? And a man will have the conscience to collect 7.4 billion at about that amount in a year. That is about 10% or more of what comes into the state, what is budgeted in the state. And then somebody will sit down somewhere in good conscience and justify it for goodness sake.
The area of these parastatals generating revenue, you've not talked about it.
Good. Now let me ask you a question, Oni.
Are they not meant to be generating revenue for
they are
payment of salaries?
They are meant to be generated, and I fault them on that. But then also, when I got to Abia State Teaching Hospital yesterday, I looked at the environment. My brother Eric, I'm coming there. I am coming there. Please don't interfere. Please. My brother here, Eric, will not take himself to go to that place to go and seek medical health care. You cannot expect somebody to generate revenue when you do not provide the necessary infrastructure that can support it. Can you send your child to Abia Poly? Can you send your child, your wife who is going to give birth, to the teaching hospital where there is no infrastructure? Make it, rebuild the place, give them what they need to work, and step back. If you go to other teaching hospitals in this country, they generate money. Why? Because the governments there have provided them with the resources to be able to work. You cannot give what you don't have.
Okay.
These parastatals, they are not being well funded. And then you expect them to do magic. It will not work.
Okay. It is still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions right here on Flow 94.9 FM, the Flow of God's own state. Monday edition. Of course, we're looking at the state of Abia, dissecting it from different perspectives with the help of our panelists in the studio this morning, Mr. Honest Offor and also Eric Ikwuagwu, both public affairs commentator, and of course looking at some parameters. We've looked at health this morning. But before I throw the lines open now, Mr. Eric Offor here talked about the state of these parastatals. I mean, infrastructure wise, that it might not be so conducive to generate those revenues expected of them from the government. Maybe one of the reasons they are being owed, some of these parastatals, over 10, over 20 months salaries are being owed. Then if we look at that, what about the pensioners? They are also appealing. They've been appealing on a monthly basis to the government that we are dying. The government should also look at our side, because these are some of the statistics that we improve the human capital development in the state if they are being paid regularly. I don't know how you want to respond to this, Mr. Eric.
Let me start by saying that there are a whole lot of things my brother here doesn't understand.
Okay.
Now, when he says that subventions are meager, okay, he doesn't understand that these things are budgeted for, okay, and you don't just give out subventions. These are structured payments. So you don't feel like, maybe I like the face of the VC in ABSU, let me pay him more subvention than the other. And he has no empirical evidence. He's just banding figures here and there. I was expecting him to come up with figures and say, this is how much, with facts and figures, just like me coming to tell you that Flow FM, the managing director of Flow FM, earns 1 billion naira. Without any empirical evidence, without anything to back, excuse me, I didn't interrupt you, without having anything to back it up. He's been brandishing figures, and I look at him and I laugh. Let me ask him a question. Does he know what it took the state government to set up Abia Line? He doesn't know that. He didn't know that there were new buses that were provided for that particular venture. And today, where are they? And today, ask yourself, where is Peace Mass Transit? We come back to Abia Poly, and I still have an issue there. Okay, I still tell you, if a particular management team is not performing, sack them. Do not just give them the chance to continue giving us excuses. At a particular point, this Abia Poly had lesser students than in a teaching institution that should have more teaching staff than non-academic staff. They have more academic staff, non-academic staff than teaching staff, and this is part of the problem you have in Abia Poly. You have a particular school that pays canteen owners and put them in your payment voucher as a staff of the institution. You have a particular place, just an ordinary sick bay with resident doctors on the payroll. How will you survive with such an environment? We have Gregory University, a private-owned university, doing very good. Now, what you compensate for the high cost of fees you pay in private establishment, it is the huge number of students you have in the public schools. At the time, Abia Polytechnic had over 25,000 students, but today they are less than 10,000. And how do you make that money? So the management has to be rigid. And if you want to sack people, you see the same staff coming to shout, leave us. Government has to take solid decisions.
Mr. Eric, the buck stops on the table of the governor.
Remember I told you that where I differ, I said this. That's why to be very objective. Where I differ is this: any parastatal that is not performing, just like Abazwere did when he was at SPIM, he inherited over 7 months' salary. He came there, cleared it, and was returning money to the state. Now, why not sack these other people that are not performing and bring up people that can perform? That is where I have problems. I cannot come here and tell you all is well. There is a reason why these guys are not doing well. If they feel it is their father's property, or they believe it is a place for political settlement, sack these people and bring in people and bring in the management team that can perform. We have seen it happen. BCA is a parastatal. BCA is performing. Are they owing salary? They even have more staff than you do in Flow FM. But nobody is complaining about that. So when you want to blanket and say Abia is owing salaries, you're doing a big disservice to the state. In terms of SME, come on, for Christ's sake. Now, when you go to the data, I tell you, Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, go there and look at Abia Performance Index. You'll be proud to be an Abia. Even industrialization, Abia came 5th, surprisingly. So these people who are outside are not going to look at what Munachiso and his friends are talking about on Facebook. They go to the data. Another data is very okay. Our performance, our fiscal performance is very okay. And nobody is talking about that. And you want me to believe that Abia is what Munachiso want to create it? Look at the only area the hot Abia state. All these small-scale investors who are managing their businesses expecting to grow in business. You scare them away by going to Facebook to talk about recruiting somebody from Edo that is not even better. I own a property in Lagos, and where I stay, the street I stay, I know how bad it is. Nobody is coming there to talk about it, but it is only in Abia State that my younger brother who lives in Abuja will tell us what is happening in our own backyard. When last has he gone to my village? Does he know what a woman, a poor farmer in the village is suffering? And you go to Facebook and want me to believe you?
Let's return to him. I'm sure.
And I'm angry about that.
I'm sure he's going to respond to some of those issues you've raised. The area of SME, it's been said that some of those that criticize.
Number one, this is a hub of SME. And what you do, whatever you do, people are still coming to invest in the state.
Just a moment, Mr. Eric. Let me return to Offor right in the studio. The area of SME, according to him, you might be doing the state government an injustice if you do not rate this present administration high in the area of SME, the small medium scale enterprises, and what the governor, he has really channeled energy into Aba, of course. Promoting Made in Aba. A lot has been said about that. I don't know what it will be your reaction to that. And also, he spoke about demarketing the state again over and over again. As some of these people that do share their views about Abia State in the negative, especially on the social media page, they are not in Abia State and they do not know what is happening in the state.
Thank you very much. I want to start by saying that excuses are good reasons for bad results. All I heard him give here is excuses, and he said he wants to be angry. How dare he talk about anger?
Let's not take it personal now. Let's not.
He's angry.
We need to.
Someone is being old for 31 months. The person is not angry, and he's angry. Schools are closed, hospitals closed, and he's angry. People live in subhuman conditions in this state, and he's angry. Let's talk about SME. Let's look at SME. What is the policy the governor has been able to put in place beyond just donning Made in Aba clothes and going to take pictures and telling the world, okay, he's marketing Made in Aba? Very good, fantastic. In Ebonyi,
the shoe factory.
In Ebonyi, I'm coming. I'll get there.
Okay.
In Ebonyi, the governor built the biggest rice mill in Nigeria, employing thousands of people. A fertilizer plant was built in Ebonyi by Umahi. We are talking about investment. A shoe factory was built. Good, fantastic. It was supposed to have been opened since 2017 or so, when they sent 30 shoemakers to China to go and learn. And of course, I applauded that time. It was actually a very fantastic idea. And they came back, wasted all the time in the world, and they just started which they hear. How many people have been employed there? After the NSAS protests, Governor Umahi gave 2 billion naira, was dedicated to youth empowerment, to give SMEs to be able to reflect their business, people who did not have money for businesses. Tell me what the governor has done in clear terms. An SSA bank was set up to be able to help small and medium scale enterprises in this state. What happened to it? We heard 200 million was given to the bank as a start-off. The money till today had become subject of controversies. An investigation had been lodged by the House of Assembly. Up till now, nobody knows the result or the report of that investigation. 200 million gone down the drain. He's here. He can tell us what happened to the bank that the government set up to be able to take care of that. So when you talk about business, when you talk about, nobody is demarketing the state. I give it to the governor that he has tried in some places. But when you put it on the scale of what has been done and on what could have been done, you realize that there is a wide gap. We are talking about a state that receives in the excess of 5 billion naira every month. Where does the money go to? Some days ago, some weeks ago, the NBA wanted to go on strike here in Aba, and he said, please give us some time. A man who's been governor for close to 7 years saying, give me more time to do roads. How much more time does he need? And then when you complain, they will brand you. You're trying to demarket the state. You're an enemy of the state. You're a politician. You are this and you are that. People are suffering in this state.
Perhaps what got him angry is the area of not talking about the good side of the government at all. Maybe, I don't know.
I am a very objective. I'm a very objective person. When I came to Aba, I passed through Osusu Road, and I wrote a post about it. I have a very wide audience on Facebook, large audience. I wrote it on Facebook. I commended the governor. When I see the good, I commend. But what you will not expect from me is to see black and call it white. And what I am telling you is that progressively, Abia has been unfortunate. We have probably the worst kind of leadership in Abia, and it did not start from this government. Progressively, from 1999 till date, Abia has been unfortunate to be led by people who do not feel our pains.
Okay, just before I throw the lines open this morning, Mr. Eric, the gap now, he spoke about the gap. Of course, you said something about channeling the energy, also focusing or talking about the positives in this administration and not only the negative. But he said there is a wide gap between the positives and the negatives, if I can put it that way. I don't know, do you agree with him?
It is still, these sound bites will not take us anywhere. I deal on data. I like data.
Looking at the statistics,
verifiable data.
The performance
now,
of the president.
He is talking about the gap. See, these things are just sound bites of these guys who run around Facebook, talking up and down. He has not made any. There's no substance in what he has been saying here. Brandishing figures he doesn't know about.
Give us your own statistics.
Just a moment,
I am telling you that for whatever bad you bring up in Abia State, there are 10 good that will submerge that. That's what I'm telling you. Now he came up to say schools are closed in Abia. Everybody is dying. But this young man, let me tell you, is having his wedding on 25th of December. In December, Abba, that everybody is dying, everything is a time of the solution. And you ask him, who will even attend the wedding if everybody in Abia is dead? That is the impression he wants people out there. Yeah, he thinks he has so much followership and he will use the platform that he should be using
just
to propagate good. Let me do my final point, please. Now, there is this young boy in my own community, Ugochukwu, who, in this magic, in this transformation of made in Aba, went to Aba to learn how to make clothes. Now, that guy has built a house in the village, married a wife. These are life statistics I want to talk about. I don't brandish figures. Now, these are human life that are being affected positively. And my friend here wants to talk about SMEs as if it is just about the 30 shoemakers.
You've not told us what the governor has done on SME. You've not told us what he has done.
There are so many to be talked about.
Mention one. What has he done?
Even for the mere fact that the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics is placing Abia first ahead of Anambra State, it is something to cheer with. And there's nothing to smile about it. It may be different from your expectation. It may be different from your politicking. But the figures are there. Okay. If I'm an investor coming into Abia State, I will look at those figures and not what you people talk on Facebook or what you want people to believe.
All right.
That was the fact.
All right. It is still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions right here on Flow 94.9 FM, the flow of God's state. The Monday edition. Very interesting conversation we've had this morning. We're throwing the lines open. We'll take a break. When we return, you can share your thoughts on the state of Abia, of course, God's own state. Stay tuned. All right, thank you very much for staying tuned. Still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions right here on Flow 94.9 FM. You can join the conversation on our Facebook page. We're live on Facebook page. Of course, you can watch what is happening in the studio right now and drop your comments. Flow 949 FM on Facebook at facebook.com/Flow 949 FM. You can also join the conversation this morning on 0808 182 6949. 0811-605-2949. Also drop messages on 0906-510-8289. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm Obinna from Umaya.
All right, Obinna.
I want to ask the man from the state government if he's being
he's not from the state government. He's a public affairs analyst. All right.
I want to hear if he's being owed 25 months of salary, will he be sitting down comfortably in the studio talking in favor of the governor? Again, let him tell Abians the infrastructure standing today in Umuahia, where is it? If there's any infrastructure in Umuahia, let him tell Abians. Abia capital looks like a glorified village, and he's comfortably sitting telling Abians lies. He
has a right to his opinion. Anyways, let's not make it personal.
This is not good.
All right. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. He asked a direct question. Yes.
My young man, I think you do not even understand what infrastructure is. That is just your problem. Because if you do, you won't be asking me what infrastructure is standing in Umuahia. Then I'm in the studio here. I drove from my house to this place, and there are people doing business in Umuahia and asking me what infrastructure is. You might say you want a decoration, and that is aesthetic. But when we talk about economic infrastructure, Umuahia is growing. Umuahia's economy has moved from total dependence on civil service to some other aspects. See hotels coming up every day in Umuahia, and somebody is telling me what infrastructure.
Let's get more reactions on the phone line, so Mr. Eric. Hello, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning.
You're welcome.
Good morning. My name is Frank. I'm calling you here in Umuahia.
All right.
Yeah. Good morning, my islands in the house.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, well done. Please, they just call expert. Now, in Niger State, our governor is not next to truly speaking. Okay, look at state vigilance here in Niger State. That is so. These people, they have a family. They just call expert, please, my friend. Thank you.
All right, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael.
You're welcome.
I greet your guests. Good morning, everybody.
Go on. Good morning. They can hear you.
Thank you. Good morning. Yes, my name is Mr. Chijoke from Bende Road, Umuahia. I came from Eloma, Shukwato. That's where I came from. So I don't think that any human being can tell me the history of Abia State. From 1999, Ojo Zokalo came in as a governor of Abia State. We saw what Ojo Zokalo did. We saw how he took care of pensioners, workers in Abia State.
Whoa, we lost that. If you can call back, we will appreciate. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning. My name is Vika Chukwira.
All right.
My own is a very simple analysis. Somebody, one of the analysts there made mention of Obehe to Abba and asked why state government has not done anything on that road. I think it's really, really appalling that somebody is making, case for federal government in defense of federal government, whereas federal government has a budget for some of these things. When you are a particular road is a federal road, what it means is that federal government has a budget and federal government has a department that takes care of these things. Now, when you continue saying, why shouldn't states do it? You're actually making those people to sit back and hold their money while every problem will go to the state government, especially when state government has their own other state-marked roads that need also attention. So what I'm saying is, when we come on a live radio like this, we should go as much as letting people understand that, see, these people, this is their responsibility. The same way we are saying, parastatals, they have their responsibility, and the government workers, they also have their responsibility. Then why should we now come to also understand that?
All right. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us.
I don't know if I can respond.
Do appreciate. Yes, just in 30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds. What I will have to say is that sometime, I think earlier in the year, the federal government refunded Rivers State government, I think 70 or 80 billion naira for the monies that they spent on federal roads. A government that is sensitive and that understands its duties will not wait for federal government to do some of these things. You can actually take up the bill, get it done, and then get your refund.
On most of these roads.
My friend here keeps talking about helping SMEs, and then the road that leads to Area is terrible.
People are still coming into this
you cannot even do palliative work on the road. So to make the road that is conducive for people to move.
You want what you feel to envelope everything happening in Abia, but it's unfortunate. It's not happening.
Let's get more reactions on the phone lines, gentlemen. Hello, good morning to you.
Michael.
You're welcome.
Go to Ebonyi State. The governor
what's your name and where you calling from, please?
My name is Chijokin.
All right.
Go to Ebonyi State. The governor there bears his people in his mind. All the federal roads there, he built all of them, tied them. There is nothing like a federal citizen. We all have state citizens, no federal citizens here. Let the government take up the responsibility. Stop shifting the responsibility to the federal government. If you build roads, they will not praise Buhari. Buhari will not take the glory. Let the governor sit up. Let the governor sit up. Abia is a glorified village.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us.
We need to clear and make people understand these things.
Okay.
See, there are clear demarcations. Okay, federal, state, local government roads. And there is no how. I'm coming. There is no how you can get into a federal road without. See, if a contract has been given. See, do you know that this a contract has been given?
Excuses for 7 years.
All right.
For 7 years. Excuses for 7 years. For goodness sake.
On the phone line. Gentlemen of the press.
Continue on this or standby. Hello. Won't get you anywhere.
Hello. Good morning to you.
Hello. Good morning.
You're welcome. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning. I'm our guest.
All right.
One of the analysts there, I think, is making a mistake in terms of payment of salary in Abia State. See, both parastatals and ministries, all their salaries are there in the budget. What the parastatals are asking the governor is to give them the money that is contained in the budget. If government activities are not, government is not for the Christmas. That throw away money. That subvention is talking about is the salary of the parastatals. Abia was not created today. Governor Tasu is not the first governor. It's not the second governor. It's not the third. It's the fourth executive governor. Abia workers have not seen this before. Secondary schools are being open for 18 months. Other parastatals are there crying. And when you talk about Abia State University, how much does he give them as their subvention? If it is 120 million a month,
all right.
Give them 20 million.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us.
For salaries, please. Subventions are meant to run that particular parastatal.
And running the
It is
parastatal
meant to,
doesn't include
and I will expect, I will want the,
it doesn't include recurrent
I
expenditure.
will, it is not solely.
It doesn't include.
He said,
It
I am not
doesn't
talking
also
to you.
include
The
overhead.
caller made a mistake and said it is
You are
for salaries.
making more mistakes.
And I'm telling
it is
him,
wrong for us
and
to
I'm
sit
telling
on
him that
air to
subventions
mislead the
are
people.
not
Do
just
not
for salaries.
misinform the
All
people.
right, let's
Subventions are not just
Do
for
not
salaries.
misinform people.
And
please.
when
Don't
you talk
do
about
that.
subvention, I want
Don't
to
do
see
that.
the VC of
Don't do
ABSU
that.
to come and talk about if he receives subvention.
And please, let's have some respect and regard
not
for the people who are suffering.
I'm not from
if you are in their
man who
shoes,
lives
you
in
will not be
Abuja.
here saying
Gentlemen
this.
of the
If you are in
press.
their shoes, you
My
will not
mother
be here
is
saying
a
that.
pensioner too.
Gentlemen, let's move on.
She's feeling it.
Because you
Can
understand.
Can
My
you
mother
imagine?
understands.
Can you
Come
imagine
on,
for one
come on,
second
listen,
if you are not there to
listen.
support your mother?
There has been
If
so
your elder
many-
brother is not there to support your mother, how will she be surviving? You see somebody who. My father is 95
All right,
years
gentlemen,
old.
we need to get more
95
reactions
years
on the
old,
floor.
and you're owing him.
on
How do you
this.
expect him to live?
Studio lines, please. Very important. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael Oni.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Good morning, our guest in the house.
Good morning.
What's
Yeah,
the name,
this is
please?
Lomando Prophet.
All right, welcome.
Please. Yeah, I want us, in the people in the studio, please, let us respect each other's views, because you people are now selling yourself to the public, so that we will understand each and every one of you one by one. Now, I want to see the letter as somebody that's from Offor. The letter from the former Attorney General. There is nothing wrong in writing a letter, but if that letter is political, maybe because there is something he needed to get and they didn't give it to him, he wrote that letter, I condemn it. But if he is writing it as a citizen that wants things to for good, then I will support him. That is it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. We need to run through the messages now so that we take the messages on the Facebook page and we wrap up the program this morning. What we gain defending wrong thing. Just now, my salary came in as a state worker and it is badly slashed. Every time is half salary. Chai, what do we do? May God, okay, Tochi from Umar here, Minister of Health. Good morning, Mike. The fact that Mr. Offor has no justification to say there is nothing good with this administration owing workers is not healthy. It is an act of selfishness not to appreciate a whole hospital bill against 500. Right, that's coming from Sir Ike. This one says, are teachers in the secondary school among the parastatals? Why are they owed 18-month salaries? Mr. Ugo from Ubakala. This one says, yes, the governor has performed wonderfully. David, okay, he says only on radio. That's your reaction. That's your thought anyways. David Omuchekwa. Good morning, Mike. Today is 6th Abia. Civil servants have not been paid. How can we celebrate Christmas? Please tell them to pay us. Okay, let's run through the messages. We have messages on the Facebook. Hi, Star Chica, thank you. Ambassador Naza Evans, thank you. Agotochuku, thank you. Joel Ufere, thank you. Joel Ufere says, when the striking force of a team is weak and ineffective, the defense line sweats a lot. All right, that is a personal attack there. I'm not going to take that. Omuka Chukwemeka Cyril says, watching from his equator, Mr. Mike, I'm fully disappointed with Mr. Eric. Someone is disappointed with him, Mr. Eric.
No,
he says, please, sir, so you are boldly telling us that Abians, boldly telling the Abians that the present condition of Abia State is commendable. I'm fully disappointed in you. You know that okay, you are all, okay, that's a personal attack anyways. Let's move on. Please let me go to Mr. Offor. How I wish I'm at flow to take a handshake from you. You've really spoken the truth about Abia. Honorable Njoku Chidebere says, honest Offor, I am happy that some youths still have their brains and sense with them. Omuchekwa, okay, that's the second message from Omuchekwa. Roland Alozie says, I have a question for Mr. Eric. How will double taxation and the use of touts for revenue drive and poor state of major roads in Aba promote growth of SMEs in Aba? All right, those are we need to step out of the studio. We have just 2 minutes to wrap this up, but we do appreciate you for your messages and your calls. Thank you very much. And the gentleman in the studio, Mr. Honest Offor, thank you for being part of the program.
Thank you.
And Mr. Eric Ikwuagwu, we do thank you also for being part of the program this morning.
Thank you so very much.
Yes, do enjoy the rest of your days. Stay safe. Many thanks to the producer, Samson Eze, and Tayelolu Akinloton. My name is Michael Oni.